Welcome to the Love in Progress podcast, where we deep dive into self-reflection and healing as a catalyst for better relationships and leadership. I am your host and educator, Neena, and I'm here to be a guide to you in that process. Let's get started. Gosh, I don't think I could be more excited for the launch of this podcast because it has been a long time coming. And by a long time, I mean literally my whole life. The process of understanding the principles that I will be sharing within this context are truly a life story, a memoir of what I have experienced over my life and really will continue to experience in my life and grow through. And I consider it a humble honor to be able to share some insights that I have gained over the years of my life of consciousness and awareness to this that I truly believe could be impactful and helpful to you in your life. And I really hope that it will. So let's dive into it, shall we? Okay, this podcast is really focused on helping you understand from my point of view and what I believe could be life-changing elements here, that love, really being able to offer that love that you want to in the world, whether that's in your romantic relationships, your parenting relationships, your relationship in your nuclear family, relationships with your neighbors, with your community, with your church, and also within your leadership roles, with really anybody that you come in contact with. Your ability to love within all of those relationships truly is only going to be at its max capacity to how much you personally love and understand yourself. And that maybe sounds cliche, but let's lean into it because I can be 100% a testament to this. As I have dove into true, deep self-acceptance, self-love, the practice of reparenting myself, it has truly amplified my ability to love and to connect with people, because I stopped seeing everything in my world, especially those I relate to, through the filter of the disdain and the self-abuse and the self-challenge and the self-disgust that I was holding because of just my humanness. Can we just take a beat here and acknowledge how human each of us are? And the fact that the experiences that we have walked through, really, we just did the best that we could in that experience and had to go based on the perspective that we had at that moment when we were faced with that challenge or that experience. And so as we start this podcast off, I really want to just start with a personal testimony and memoir a bit of my own background, and really why I feel that this is such an imperative point in time for us to be able to share this message, and for me to be able to come on and share my experience, both in my own personal journey through deep self-love, which is a continuing job, by the way, but also in my space as a mentor, as someone who has walked alongside many individuals who are struggling with confidence, struggling to have quality relationships that they feel fulfilled in and that can last long term, and to cultivate trust in their life and in their love and in their relationships. And I really do know firsthand what it's like to distrust myself. And I'm not going to go over tons about the stories of my past, more than I will say the lessons from those stories in my past, because as impactful as they were also very challenging. And I want to focus less about the challenge and more on the triumph. So let's kind of back up and let me give you a little background to myself. So my background is in child psychology. I worked as a mental health professional in the schools, so I was expected to have it all together, you guys. I certainly had an expectation on my shoulders, at least, to know tactics with which to practice deep self-acceptance and self-love, emotional regulation, to develop and exemplify quality relationships. But sometimes I will joke that those that go into the psychology field are so passionate about it because we have walked the road of challenge and know how imperative it is to have support and help and scaffolding with which to do that healing. And I absolutely came from a pretty dark place before my psychology background, one which I'll share at another time, but it was the lowest point of my life. And it took everything that I had within me to decide to go on. And sorry. that low point was at the pinnacle of my self-abuse. It was at the pinnacle of my deep lack of self-trust. And more than that, telling myself a story that all of the heartache that not only I was experiencing, but that I was potentially causing to the people in my life made it so my life wasn't meant to be sustained anymore. And I don't share that to have you sit in pity with me, but I want you to sit with me, I think, in the hope that came out of that. Because after being in such a dark and low place, there was really no place to go but up or to quit. And I'm so grateful for the angels that came into my life that night, and I'm still here. And I started that road up. And it had to start from simple techniques and tactics, which I'm going to share with you on how to, again, build self-trust, self-love, and I think a lot of self-compassion and self-grace, because those mistakes are not something that I'm probably ever going to stop making, at least in one way, shape, or form, especially as I understand how to be better. I'm going to find new ways to be better based on what I had been doing in the past. So after that point of hitting a pretty low place in my life, seeking support and help, I realized just how dire I was when it came to my self-concept. And I began from that point forward in finding just small little ways that I was proud of myself. And it wasn't based on the feedback that I had been given from other people. It wasn't based on my family's positioning or prestige or the awards or acclaims that I had had up to that point. Honestly, those felt very superfluous when it came down to me deciding to be here or not. It just came down to these little moments where I could see people reacting positively to something I would say, or me moving into a room or a space and feeling like I was valued there because I knew my purpose, because I knew that I had value. And it was an impactful moment that had to just continue to compound and be found over time. And I'm really grateful for that process, as hard as it was. I think it may be the thing that I'm the most proud of in my life, outside of the work that I have done in my own home, with my relationships with my partner and with my children. And I know that I couldn't connect with them the way that I have learned to connect with them if I didn't first understand how to love myself. And so as we dive into this series together, I invite you to challenge some old beliefs where you may be self-critical and find opportunities to practice a bit more self-compassion, a bit more self-grace, a bit more patience and love and deep acceptance and understanding. And know that wherever you are in listening to this podcast today is a great starting point. And that I'm proud of you for being here and seeing that there's potential growth in yourself. And I'm excited to share my insights as we go along. So again, welcome to the podcast. Really excited to dive into this. We're going to have some incredible topics that we share together. And I'm always interested in hearing from you. So please do reach out, share your questions, challenges, experiences, and we'll talk through it together as we grow together in finding a true, deep, undying, unconditional love so that you can not only feel it for yourself, but you can share it with others. Live well, look well, and be well, my friends. Excited to talk to you next time.